Mr. Speaker, as we all learned on Sunday, Mr. Bush came to America from Germany to make the king of beers. He didn't have a visa, he had a boat ticket, and of course our country welcomed him. Well, not exactly. In the Super Bowl era that aired, Mr. Bush was told, "You're not welcome here, go back home." But then the young man eventually reaches St. Louis, meets Mr. Anheuser, and Budweiser, one of the unmistakably American brands around the world, is born. All of us assumed that the president was watching the ad because it was, after all, the Super Bowl, and it was broadcast by Fox Network, his favorite. But I wonder if the message sank in. To borrow a line from a different advertiser, Mr. Speaker, I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I think the next time it'll be a Bud. But then there was the little girl and her mom who walked to America from Latin America in the '84 lumber ad. They didn't have a visa either because, well, we don't generally allow visas to people from Latin America who are seeking a better way of life here. And if they did qualify for a visa, that little girl would be a grown-up adult by the time the visa was processed. Given our broken immigration system, we learned that Fox Television told the advertiser to edit out a border wall scene in the original version of the ad. I guess even Fox is worried about being attacked by the Twitter-in-chief. I'm not sure what '84 lumber sells, but I think I'm gonna go out and buy me some. Mr. Speaker, I haven't had a cup of coffee in 30 years. I don't drink the stuff. You can bet, however, I'm gonna go find my way into a Starbucks sometime soon because they just announced in the midst of all this political turmoil that they will hire an additional 10,000 refugees. The CEO of Starbucks said in a letter recently, there are more than 85 million citizens of the world recognized as refugees by the United Nations. And we are developing plans to hire 10,000 of them over the next 5 years in 75 countries around the world where Starbucks does business. Apple, Netflix were among the companies to strongly oppose the president's ban on travel from certain Muslim countries and the halt to the refugee program. I know this because I Googled it. And Google is another company that has stepped up as a corporate citizen to say that restricting legal immigration by visa holders is bad for their bottom line, bad for a nation built by immigrants, and bad for a nation that is a leader of and dependent on the world economy. And Mr. Speaker, there is no more iconic world brand, no commercial symbol more associated with America and Americans around the world than Coca-Cola. Unlike coffee, Mr. Speaker, I enjoy a Coke and a smile several times a day. The company issued a statement recently that said, quote, Coca-Cola Company is resolute in its commitment to diversity, fairness, and inclusion, and we do not support this travel ban or any policy that is contrary to our core values and beliefs, end quote. Mr. Speaker, I'm not here to advertise products or tell anybody what to shop for or who to buy from, but it is a pretty important moment in our history when America's largest companies are going out of their way to say that this president's anti-immigration agenda runs contrary to core values of their corporation and core values of the United States of America. When the CEO of Uber has to resign from a corporate advisory council because president's policies are so toxic, you know there's some bad policy there. See, the reality TV host in the White House, who's all about burnishing his own brand, has damaged, Mr. Speaker, the most important brand in world history, the American brand, the Statue of Liberty, and the bald eagle. Mr. Speaker, American consumers who drive our economy, the men and women who open up businesses that feed our economy, and those who wake up every day to make the products, at this moment, they are being asked to get involved and to make their choices be known. As the Starbucks CEO said recently, if there is any lesson to be learned over the last year, it is that your voice and your vote matter more than ever. We are all obligated to ensure our elected officials hear from us individually and collectively. Here's my message. I'm not handing over my money to people or companies that take that money and invest in hate, invest in bigotry, invest in discrimination, that destroy the image and the reputation of the United States of America. I'm not putting $1 into those companies. I'm not going to use my money to support that. I want to yield back now because I guess I'm going to find myself a Starbucks and buy whatever they have there that's not coffee, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
The gentleman yields.